It is November 2012. We are at the Palazzo in Las Vegas. The air smells of expensive cigars and vintage Cristal champagne. In the center of the room, surrounded by Hollywood elite such as Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, and Jamie Foxx, is a man who looks as though he has wandered into the wrong party. He is a short, round, bespectacled Malaysian man in his late 20s named Joe Low. Suddenly, the music stops. A giant birthday cake is rolled into the ballroom. Britney Spears pops out and starts singing Happy Birthday to him. That night, Joe Low will spend millions of dollars on this one party alone. But here's the kicker. Nobody in that room really knows who he is. They think he's a tech billionaire, a Saudi prince, or a Malaysian tycoon. The truth is far more terrifying. Joe Low didn't earn this money. He stole it. Not from a bank, but from the future of an entire nation. This is the story of the 1MDB scandal, a $4.5 billion heist that corrupted one of the world's most powerful investment banks, bought Hollywood's soul, and proved that if you throw enough money at people, they'll never ask where it came from. To understand how one man could rob a country of $4.5 billion, we must understand him. Joe Low wasn't a financial genius in the traditional sense. He was a social engineer. Born into a wealthy, albeit not billionaire, family in Malaysia, he was sent to Harrow, an elite British boarding school attended by princes and world leaders. It was here that Low realized his greatest weapon, the illusion of wealth. He would tell his royal classmates that he was a prince from a faraway land. He rented massive yachts for the weekend using his family's business money just to prove he belonged. He learned that, in the world of the top 1%, people don't check bank statements, they check appearances. After Harrow, he attended the Wharton School in Pennsylvania. While his fellow students were studying finance, Joe Low was studying people. He spent his time organizing high-profile parties and building a network that stretched from the Middle East to Wall Street. By the time he graduated, he had made his most important contact yet, the stepson of Najib Razak, the future Prime Minister of Malaysia. In 2009, Najib Razak became Prime Minister. Shortly afterwards, he set up a sovereign wealth fund called 1MDB, Tizimuan Malaysia Development Berhad. On paper, it was a noble cause. Its purpose was to attract foreign investment to build infrastructure, hospitals, and schools for the Malaysian people. In reality, however, Joe Low was the puppet master pulling the strings. Although he had no official government role, he was the one making the decisions. The theft didn't happen overnight. It was a masterpiece of complexity. Joe Low's first major maneuver was a joint venture with a small, little-known company called Petro Saudi. 1MDB invested $1 billion in this venture. However, within days, $700 million of that money had been diverted into a secret Swiss bank account belonging to a company called Good Star, which was entirely owned by Joe Low. How did he get away with it? He brought in the biggest name in finance, Goldman Sachs. The vampire squid of Wall Street didn't just assist, they orchestrated the bond deals that provided 1MDB with billions of dollars in cash. They were so blinded by the $600 million in fees that Low offered them that they ignored every red flag. Top executives at the bank, such as Tim Leissner, were in Joe Low's pocket. They treated 1MDB like a private ATM. Joe Low now had billions. However, he couldn't simply leave it in a Swiss bank account. He had to launder it. There is no better place to launder money than Hollywood. Low wanted to become a legend. He set up a production company called Red Granite Pictures and chose the most ironic project possible, a film about a financial criminal. He funded Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street. He spent over $100 million of stolen Malaysian money telling a story about a man stealing money. But he didn't stop there. He also became a ghost in the art world, buying a $3.2 million Picasso for Leonardo DiCaprio and a $9 million Basquiat for himself. He also bought a $250 million super yacht named Equanimity, complete with a gym, spa, and helicopter pad. He also spent $27 million on a pink diamond necklace for the Prime Minister's wife, Rosma Mansour. For 5 years, Joe Low was untouchable. He was the great Gatsby of the 21st century. But in 2015, his facade began to crumble. A former Petro Saudi employee named Xavier Justo leaked thousands of emails to journalist Claire Rucastle-Brown. The data trail was undeniable. The money wasn't being spent on Malaysian hospitals. It was being gambled away in Las Vegas and spent on luxury condos in Manhattan. The United States Department of Justice, DOJ, launched what would become the largest asset forfeiture case in history. They called it the Kleptocracy Initiative. The fallout was catastrophic. In Malaysia, the people rose up. In a historic 2018 election, the government of Najib Razak was toppled. Najib was later arrested and sentenced to 12 years in prison. Meanwhile, his wife Rosma was found to have amassed over $200 million worth of luxury handbags and jewelry in her home, all of which had been purchased with 1MDB funds. Goldman Sachs was forced to pay a record-breaking fine of $2.9 billion and admit criminal wrongdoing. This will leave a permanent stain on the bank's reputation. But what about the man at the center of it all? What about Joe Low? As the net closed in, he vanished. He didn't wait to be arrested. He fled to China, using his connections to stay hidden. Today he is a ghost. Interpol has issued an orange notice for his arrest. Rumor has it that he has had plastic surgery to change his appearance. Reports suggest that he is living in a luxury compound in Shanghai or Macau, protected by high-level officials. The $4.5 billion he stole has never been fully recovered. The Malaysian people are still paying off the debt from his bond deals. The 1MDB scandal is a stark warning about the dark side of the global financial system. It showed us that with enough stolen money, you can buy silence from the biggest banks, friendship from the biggest stars, and protection from the most powerful governments. Joe Low proved that the world isn't run by rules, but by the perception of power. For 5 years, he was the most powerful man in the world, but his power was built on a mountain of lies.